guys, it's Lindsay. Welcome back to The Wandering Reader. Today I'm going to be doing a review of The Childfinder by Rene Denfeld. This comes out in the UK on the 18th of January, so not long to wait. You can order it tomorrow. This is obviously an ARC copy of it, so I'll put a picture on the screen of what the final UK cover is going to look like, and I believe this has already come out in the States. I think this has been out for a few months now. This is a sort of mystery thriller novel, and it focuses around Nami, and she is known as the Childfinder. She has made it her job as an adult to look for missing children, and she's seemingly quite good at it. Whether she finds them alive or dead, she has solved an awful lot of missing children cases. And at the beginning of the book, she is called upon to find Madison Culver, and Madison, when she disappeared 3 years ago, was 5, and she disappeared when her mother and father drove to a bit of the local forest, I think, and they were with the intention of cutting down a tree to put up for Christmas. And Madison kind of ran out of the car, you know, excited about being in the snow and in the forest, and she kind of ran off and disappeared, and they couldn't find her. So it's 3 years later, they still haven't heard from her, and they've called upon Nami to help them to look for her and try and work out what has gone, you know, what has gone on with their child, what's happened to her, kind of draw some sort of line under it. What's interesting about this particular case for Nami is that it throws up some memories about her own past that she's been suppressing, I suppose, but also that she's found really difficult to remember since her childhood. She had a pretty unconventional childhood, and there are things that happened to her when she was very little that she doesn't really remember. And this case is sort of stirring some of those things that perhaps she's been trying to block out. There were a number of things about this book that I really enjoyed. Firstly, the writing. I really felt like Rene Denfeld brought her characters and the setting to life. This is set in Oregon, in the kind of depths of this particular forest area. It's very cold, it's very wintry, and that sort of setting, she really brings that to life. And then when it comes to the characters, I thought she wrote those really well. So this is a novel that switches between perspectives. So we get a little bit of Nami, we get a little bit of somebody called the Snow Child, and then we get a little bit of a couple of other characters too. And I really felt like each and every character was well developed in here. I mean, it's not a particularly long book, and she really manages to bring those characters to life and to give them all individual, very distinctive voices. What I quite liked about the writing in here as well is that she is kind of weaving in elements of fairy tale. So there were lots of moments where we were hearing from the perspective of a character called the Snow Child, who you weren't really aware who they were, and there were kind of bits of fairy tale that this character called the Snow Child was making up, but also weaving in from other kind of more popular fairy tales. And I really liked that. I think it connected well with the setting that she'd chosen in here, and I really liked that aspect of the book. I wouldn't say this is a really fast-paced thriller, but it didn't need to be. From the very first page, you were given information about the case, and then every chapter these things were kind of dropped in, which I suppose you would expect from a thriller. But you were slowly building towards what eventually you would find out, and I found myself gripped from the very beginning. What I also quite liked about this book is that there are some elements of abuse in here, but instead of describing them graphically, you know, which some writers do, and there's nothing wrong with that obviously, it wouldn't have suited this particular book, and the way that she described them was quite subtle. So she kind of dropped them in this really sort of subtle way, and I quite appreciated that. Like I said, I think it matched the style of writing and the story really well, but at the same time, because they were subtle, it kind of almost had more of an impact on me, because you're kind of left to use your own imagination as to exactly what was going on, and that kind of really creeped me out. If you're looking for a good thriller, but one that's kind of written in a bit of a different style, I would definitely recommend this. I loved Rene Denfeld's writing. There were some very beautiful moments, beautiful descriptions in here of the landscape and the snow, but also I thought she did a really good job of writing from the perspective of the snow child in here too. The kind of innocence and naivety I think was done really well here. I do have another one of Rene Denfeld's books on my shelf. It's called The Enchanted, which I believe is about prisoners on death row. So I'll definitely be checking that out. My husband's read that book and he said it was very good, and I have recommended this to him too. So like I said, I would definitely recommend this book, and I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. Like I said, if you like a good thriller, but one with a bit of a different style to it, I would definitely recommend picking this one up. So there you go guys, that was my review of The Childfinder by Rene Denfeld. Let me know in the comments below whether you have read this book and what you thought of it, and perhaps have you read Rene Denfeld's other book that I mentioned, The Enchanted? What did you think of that? Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.